Hey everybody, welcome to the Herd Fit Podcast with Dr. Sam Rhee and myself, Coach David Syvertsen. This podcast is aimed at helping anyone and everyone looking to enhance their healthy lifestyle through fitness, nutrition, and most importantly, mindset. All right, welcome back to the Herd Fit Podcast. I'm Coach David Syvertsen. I'm here with my co-host, Dr. and Coach Sam Rhee, just the two of us, back to our comfort zone. We're going to talk about something that we just did this past week. And it is Dark Week Revisited. And I think this is the third time that we ran a Dark Week here at Bison. I did some checking back, and I think this was the third time. I did want to do one every quarter, but I also didn't want to lose any members here at CrossFit Bison. So as of right now, it's a once per year thing. I do think we could get away with doing it a second time. We actually did a podcast with Coach Adam Ramsden on this exact topic after a different Dark Week. And we're going to circle back on the same conversation because I think when we revisit something, we have new perspectives on it, maybe different perspectives, maybe the same. And then that kind of reinforces some of our thoughts and ideas on it. But I want to share some feedback I've gotten from members about this and people that normally don't have opinions about CrossFit. It's just stuff that came up in conversation. But Sam, you coached and worked out in Dark Week. And what did doing this again bring back to the forefront with you as a CrossFitter?
How much I don't like Dark Week.
Tell me, be real. Why don't you like Dark Week? Because we should be clear about this. The coaches don't know the workouts either. Yeah. The only workouts the coaches know, including my wife, by the way, which I got a few dirty comments about throughout the week, unhappy comments from Ash. They don't know the workouts unless they're coaching that day. So Sam only knew, he's a Thursday morning coach here. He only knew the Thursday WOD. He didn't know any of them. Why don't you like it?
I'm a planner. I like anticipating. It reminds me a little bit about, honestly, like as a physician, being on call and not knowing what the F is going to come in the door. Like I realize the value of Dark Week.
Yeah.
But it's just like burpees or something else. Like you may realize the value of burpees. You don't have to like them. And so that's how I feel about Dark Week.
Do you try to find out what other work, and be honest about this, because I'm going to talk about this for a little bit. Do you try to find out what the workouts are beyond the ones that you're coaching?
Never. I came in on Saturday and I gave it a lot of thought. I was like, okay, it's a partner workout. I don't know what's going on. I look at the list of people and I'm like, I'm not sure, but listen, the value of Dark Week is not knowing what the workout is.
Yeah. And I even know that there's some athletes that are actually good at this. They can see what Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday were and like, you know what? Process of elimination. This probably was Thursday, because Thursday you coached it was the primary strength day of the week. And a lot of people were telling me, Dave, are we lifting tomorrow? Dave, are we lifting tomorrow? Because we haven't lifted yet. And we have to lift every single week at least once. Are we lifting tomorrow? Do you go into that frame of mind at all? Do you go into trying to guess what the workout will be based on, the previous 2-3 days of workouts?
Well, if you don't have running yet, you're probably going to see some running. If you haven't had barbell, you're going to have some barbell. But I would say this, I'm going to pick your thoughts about programming Dark Week, because as a programmer, this is a matter of trust of the athletes for the programmer.
Yeah.
Because as an athlete, if you knew your programmer was a sadist and it was like, 7 minutes of burpees today and then some other terrible workout on the next day, then you're going to be like, I don't want to do Dark Week anymore. And the fact that honestly, most people who have experienced it here at Bison will do it shows that there's a pretty high level of trust that you, the programmer, are not going to F them up. And so I want to actually think about how you thought of Dark Week and do you program that differently than other weeks?
I do a little bit, and I'll explain what is different. So I'll use Tuesday's workout as an example. Okay. Tuesday's workout was the alternating EMOM the repeated EMOM, 20 minutes of 6 alternating lunge wall balls.
Oh yeah, that was so messed up.
6 alternating single leg toes bar.
Good movement, actually.
Yep, and 6 burpees.
Okay.
So basically that was the workout. Do that every minute, and your score is out of 20. How many do you get done? And you have to finish under the minute for it to count.
Where did you get the alternating lunge wall ball, by the way?
So they've actually been a thing I've seen a few times over the years, and they were actually in the most recent, the NorCal semifinal. games athletes had to do them, and or the high level elite athletes had to do them. And that competition out in NorCal, they're known for doing things really outside the box, old school, like lifting on grass, parallettes and a handstand on grass. There are a lot of things that they do, and even to the point to a fault. There were things that they did wrong this past year that got a lot of negative attention, and they're sending people to the games. And I was like, you know what? If I saw, and I'll be honest about this, if I saw the alternating lunge wall ball at a local competition down the road, I'd be like, oh, losers. But then I saw the cream of the crop programmers and cream of the crop events sending the cream of the crop athletes to the games doing them. I was like, you know what? If they can do it, we can do it. So I came to the gym one day and I practiced them, and I was like, you know what? I actually think there's a lot of fitness involved in terms of how we define fitness, of putting them into a workout. I also know that if I put them into programming where people knew them ahead of time, I do think a lot of people would not come for that reason.
I see.
And one of the concepts of Dark Week is trusting your fitness to come in. You can come in, trust your fitness to be able to do anything, whether you have to scale or not. Like, I am fit enough to show up to the gym and do any single workout, scaled, RX, whatever. And I want to challenge athletes to view Dark Week as that, instead of always being a planner and always feeling like you need to control everything. To take an alternating lunge wall bar, alternating toes bar, which is a great movement, like Sam said, great scaling, to say, like, you know what? Yes, I don't know how to do it. Yes, it feels weird. Yes, I don't enjoy trying new things. I don't want to get hurt, or I don't want to be uncomfortable. At the end of that workout, you had a lot of people say the same exact thing. You know what? I got the hang of them. And you know what? I think there was a lot of fitness involved. Did you do that one?
I did not, but I wish I had.
Okay.
Honestly,
Well, we're doing it again next week. No, just kidding.
I remember the alternating toes to bar. The first time I saw them was with Bobby.
Okay, in a warm-up.
Warm-up.
Yeah.
And then I saw more people doing them in the workout as a scale movement.
It's a great scale.
And I've done them, and if nothing else, like, Bobby's brought a lot. But,
he has.
But if the only thing I could say is he brought alternating toes to bar, I'd say that's a win.
Still very valuable.
Why did you make that Tuesday as opposed, why'd you program Monday, Tuesday when,
So Tuesday is the highest population, highest attendance day of the day, most weeks.
Is that right?
Right. I don't want to say, I don't want anyone to say, oh, well, Dave, 3 weeks ago, Monday was busier. Generally speaking, over the past 11 years, Tuesday is the busiest workout day of the week.
I see.
So I figured that would be the way to get people to try something new without having to make the decision that they're doing something new, but also just expose them to what I thought a lot of people. Owen said this, it was the hardest workout, one of the hardest he's ever done. I think part of that was heat related. Like, I don't think the workout itself was that much harder than other things that we do.
Brutal on Tuesday.
But we had a heat wave this past week. So that was part of the rationale behind programming that workout. Other things that you can plan on with CrossFitters, and I do take pride in this, or try to do this, is that you do want the athletes to trust the programmer. Meaning, we're not going to go overhead 5 days in a row.
Right.
We're not going to do 80 toes to bar Tuesday, then 90 chest to bar pull-ups on Wednesday.
Right.
And I do take that as a huge responsibility, that if you are going to come to the gym 4, 5, 6 days in a row, it is going to be as safe as possible, within, relation to your fitness level, and not overextending yourself. But movements, I've actually always seen this, and I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus specifically. I remember when watching other gyms and their programming, having them just simply do pull-ups 2 days in a row, or toes to bar one day, pull-ups the next day. I've always like, do they not care about people's hands? or doing a heavy thruster one day and then heavy squat clean the next day. And trust me, it's really hard to program big picture. Anyone can program a good workout. It's really hard to program 5 good workouts in a row that complement each other well, that are also fun, also good training, and stick to a routine. And I do almost challenge myself on Dark Week that, can I do that and these people walk out of here being safe?
Got it.
Now, let's give some of the cons from last time, and this actually came up a couple other times. What is a con of Dark Week that maybe someone like myself is not empathizing enough with athletes?
Well, I did see Sydney Scher come in with Rob on Thursday.
Yeah.
And it was a lift workout.
Yep.
And they didn't know what it was. And she had the thickest running shoes I've ever seen.
Those are so common now.
And so it was like lifting on pillows for her. Like
Mhm.
it was like she was moving back and forth. There was like I was amazed how good her form was
Yeah.
on like 3-inch pillows. And she thought she wasn't sure what it was, and so that's what she brought. And so without the proper equipment, and Susan complains about this every dark week,
The equipment.
I got to bring chesties every day because I don't know when I'm going to need it.
Yeah.
So it's that like lack of having your equipment right.
Yes, Katie Miller made a post, or I think it was a post somewhere, or an Instagram story about like the 7 pairs of shoes she has for different CrossFit workouts, whether it's running, jumping, squatting, lifting. And I do that. I am a little picky with what I wear on certain days with workouts as well. So I do understand that. I know some of my the female athletes here have said like they'll, the shirt they wear, the sports bra they wear will change based on what workout they're doing, whether it's running, going upside down. So I do understand that. And Ash brought that up a couple times, and I said, bring both. And, and like she kind of rolls her eyes. It's like, to me, it's kind of like an obvious answer. Just like throw it in your car, throw it in your gym bag, and if you have to go make a quick change, you make a quick change. Another one that I have a lot of empathy for are people that are currently battling some sort of injury, right? And that they, whether it's a back, a knee, a hip, an ankle, a foot. And I understand that when you get to plan things out, you get to actually plan keeping yourself safe.
Mm-hmm.
Where, yes, some people cherry pick workouts based on what they like to do, what they're good at. Others are like, hey, I need to be able to function the rest of the week. I have a job. I have kids. I can't come in on the heavy deadlift day with a bad back, but I'll definitely come in on the day where we, do toes to bar and jump rope because I feel safe doing that. And my response from the coach that can get some eye rolls is like, hey, you should just be able to scale, and a coach should help you, should be able to help you out with that. And that's one thing we give our coaches, like, hey, you guys need to be extra ready this week to be able to help someone change the workout if they need to. Just thoughts on that, your stance on, hey, Dave, I get this whole CrossFit truther perspective of be ready for anything at any time, but I'm a human being and working out is just a part of my life. It's not my entire life, and I want to be as safe as possible. What would your response to that be?
I mean, I do see it that way. I've been injured, and there's so much like less joy when you can't participate in the workout with the class.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone else is doing, I remember when my shoulder was really bad and I couldn't, get on the rig, and instead I was doing like wall ball thrusters or something like that, and it feels crappy, and so I sympathize if you're the one always on the bike or whatever, because you can't do those movements. Unfortunately, it's only 1 week though.
Right.
So I feel like if it was every week, it might be an issue.
Yeah.
But even if I was really injured this week, I would try to show up on my normal days and say, okay, make this a challenge. What can I figure out? And what win can I take from that day?
Right. And that's something I was hoping you were going to bring that up, because that's something that we've been talking about a lot over the past year with, our new venture here with Outlast, and why we're doing it, the why behind it is the feeling of winning and losing, right? And when you have, whether we agree with it or not, it's a fact that when people constantly have to change a workout up and they're not doing what the rest of the crew is doing, they do kind of they can walk out of the gym feeling like they lost. Mm-hmm. And we don't want that. Like there's so many goals that we have for athletes here at Bison, but I think that if you strip everything down to the most basic layer, we want to just help people. We want to make them feel better about themselves. We want them to be healthier. That's physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. And when they come to the gym and they have to change things up because they came to Dark Week and they didn't know there was deadlifts and they can't do a lower back workout for whatever reason, that can just kind of diminish the flame. And again, it's not whether or not we agree with it or what my stance on that is. We don't want that for people in general. And I do empathize with that. And again, that's why, hey, it's only 1 week. Maybe only 1 week a year. Definitely not 2 weeks in a row. I also want to circle back to the challenge to the coaches. Mm-hmm. Is that, it's funny that our app, for the first time ever with push press, it went down for a little bit where people couldn't sign up. And I remember Ash came home. She goes, what's wrong? I'm like, I have like 10 text messages. People can't sign up. I'm trying to get a hold of push press. They're not responding. They solved it. Great job by them. It was very timely fashion, but those minutes feel like hours sometimes. Mm-hmm. And one of the athletes or a couple of the athletes made the same joke. They're like, oh, you know what? We're not even going to sign up. Dark week for the coaches too. Can you imagine being a morning coach and not knowing who's coming to your classes in the morning?
Ooh, that would be another wrinkle to
Yes.
everything else.
That would be a dark week for coaches, but that in and of itself would be a challenge for the coach. But I also think when a coach is coaching dark week and you don't know what the workout is the next day, especially, it can change how you coach, and it can make you actually kind of come back to the roots of like, all right, what is my focus today? What am I actually trying to do, and what should I be prepared for? Because when people come to the gym and they don't know the workout to the second they walk in, some of them react differently to, wow, I hate this, I love this, I can't do this, I need the scales. It puts a little bit more pressure on the coach. Did you have any of those situations, or did you anticipate that at all as a coach?
I got lucky. I had the barbell workout.
Yeah.
So it was a variation of what we had done the week before. So I felt very comfortable sort of going through it. If I had to do that alternating lunge, wall ball, alternating toes apart, my mind would have exploded because not just trying to coach that, but then the scales and sort of figuring out like how to do that.
Good point.
You know, kudos. Who coached that?
That was Tuesday was Bobby, so he opened the gym that morning.
Yeah.
And then you had Adam Ramson, I believe, and Liz.
Yeah.
Coach
So
Liz.
kudos.
All three of those guys are very well prepared.
I mean, three of our best coaches. So I'm really glad that So it really does depend on the workout. You're right.
Now, let me ask you this: do you think this whole like Type A personality, controlling, right? Do you think that am I annoying when I say that kind of gets some CrossFitters to kind of lose touch with what CrossFit truly is, and even Bison people, because this is what it was for years, right? I didn't post a workout till 9:30 the night before. We didn't start sending weekly programming out until near COVID, maybe the year before, but that was not a thing for years. Have we lost touch with kind of what CrossFit should be? It's like, hey, show up and do your thing.
Being be unknowable,
The
unknown.
Yep, the unknown and unknowable.
Yeah, that we've
CrossFit Open. That's what it is.
That's
really
yes, that is exactly what the CrossFit Open is. Yes, I think on some level we have done that, but I personally like setting myself up for success. So there is always value in being able to be thrown a curveball and being able to handle it. I feel like 1 week of dark week a year is a good and the open, for example, are great times where we are challenging ourselves with the unknown and unknowable. But for me, like when I know what a workout is, I can say, okay, my weak point in this workout is this. I can work on focusing on getting that part better. So unknown and unknowable is very good for part of your training.
Generally speaking.
Yes, and if you don't have some of those elements in your training, then yes, you should add them. But yeah, you're not going to do it all the time.
Right, and that's a very like OPEX type answer. Like when I took that OPEX course during COVID or right after COVID, it was they're talking more about the sports side of like, all right, you don't know the CrossFit Games events essentially until the week before, until you get there. Your training needs to cover all grounds. And they're very much on the side of like, no, you need to, what High Rocks is like, you need to know exactly what's coming so you can train exactly for it, be well prepared, create real training regimens around what you know is coming. I do see both sides of it, and that's why I like going back and forth. And I like, honestly, from a gym owner perspective, we always have to find ways to stimulate people, right? Like this is why the fitness industry is a fad industry, is that at some point, honestly, you just get sick of it and you just move on to something different. So like that's why we've never done like, hey, lifting on Mondays, gymnastics on Tuesdays, endurance on Wednesdays, body weight on Thursdays, and mixed modal on Friday. We do switch up what days we lift. We do switch days, which days we do gymnastics. But I'll tell you what, you look at competitors, right? They're very regimented throughout the year. And that is a big way in terms of how to get, really kind of push the needle and find your ceiling as an athlete. And I've always internally struggled with that as a coach and as an athlete, is what is the best way to prepare for someone that is something that is unknowable. We don't know what the open workouts are, the semifinal workouts. And I do think there is a mental component to Dark Week that can make you a lot better. And at the end of the day, I know we have a lot of performance favored athletes here at Bison, whether they're competing in CrossFit or they just want to get in better shape. there is a lot of value that comes from not being able to plan or being able to come up with a plan on the fly. You walk in, you look at the whiteboard, you need 5 minutes, you have your plan for the workout. Right. You don't need 4 days to plan out what Thursday's WOD strategy will be.
Well, that's me. But so when you got the feedback, do you think there are personality types of the people who gave you the feedback that reflect the type of feedback they gave you about Dark Week?
Yeah, absolutely. So man,
not to throw people under the bus.
No, I won't throw anyone. If anyone, I'll only praise someone. I'll praise somewhat of a new member here. He's been here for I think about a year now. Mike Bates.
Yeah.
He came up to me and he was just like, I really love Dark Week. I've never done this in my entire CrossFit career. He's been CrossFitting for a long time. He's at Hoboken for a long time. And he goes, one thing it did is it got me away, even a subconscious bias of what days to take off. He goes, like, I just showed up. And he goes, if your true goal is, and Owen said this as well, he goes, if your true goal is to get fitter, right, you can't just keep doing the ones that you want to do, even though it makes you feel good in the moment because you're good at that stuff. He goes, like, if your true goal is to become a fitter version of yourself, you're going to have to, and we all know this, you have to do things you don't want to do. But I think because we know that, and a lot of us have been CrossFitting for a long time, push comes to shove, that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to make very biased decisions towards what you like to do rather than what you should do. And both of those guys, it was in the same exact conversation. They said that they no longer had the ability to make a subconscious decision to only cherry pick a workout that they really want to do. And they felt, and it almost was freeing in some ways that that decision was taken out of their hand. I remember you said something like that last time. And I actually think this centers around the personality trait that you were just saying. I hate bringing this is going to ruffle some feathers here, but humility to me is a huge part of Dark Week, and being able to just be like, hey, relinquish the control of like, hey, it's for 1 week, be humble about it, just show up and do your thing. And then you get back to your routine next week, because I understand routine and how important that is. Am I going too deep on that?
No, absolutely. I think honestly, all of CrossFit is some relinquishing of control. The athletes are not determining what they're doing. The programmer is determining it every day, which is the beauty of being part of a CrossFit gym, is you don't have to think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
The only difference with Dark Week is you don't get to think about it at all until you show up. But you're still trusting the programmer every day. Every day, I'm like, okay, what is Dave programming for me? And I'm trusting you. This takes it to another level. Mike and Owen are 1,000% right, and I mean, just thinking about it.
And they're different athletes too. Not caliber. They both work really hard. They've both been CrossFitting for multiple years, but their goals and the way they work out is different. Like Mike was coming off a pretty serious back injury. He's been doing awesome, by the way. And Owen has always been a really high-level performer here.
Yeah, Owen's crazy, and I assume Mike is not crazy. That's the difference.
But the fact that they had the same response to me, it shows me that there is a similar personality trait to them, and that they're okay with relinquishing that control for a little bit, because they understand the bigger picture benefit of it. And that's the one challenge I want to throw everyone that feels any certain way about Dark Week, is that there is an advantage doing it. And I want to challenge the next time we do it, whether it's next week or next year, to not try and find out the workouts.
Oh, did people try?
Oh, yeah. They definitely tried to find out, whether it's through conversation, texting, coming early in the day to drop something off in the gym when they're coming out.
That's sad.
And I want to say, without creating any unnecessary drama, is that when you do that, it's a disrespect to the concept, and to me, even the community. Like, I even think it's kind of disrespectful to the community, because you could even tell some people know the workouts when they come in, they don't look at the whiteboard. Like, if I didn't know the workout, like, that's the first place I'm looking. What is the workout? If you walk in, you're not like, it's like, oh man, you're missing it. You're missing out on something.
You are.
And it's not every week. And I really do want to challenge people the next time we do this to just take it for what it is. And I hope that you can trust that we've done this a few times now, and it's overwhelming how positive the response is to it. Even though you might not like it in the moment, it's also overwhelming how positive the impact it can be on just keeping it fun and keeping it stimulating. And if you did try to find out the workouts, or you did find out the workouts, I want to challenge you next time to not do that, because I do think you're the one that can benefit the most.
I bet these are the ones who, when they were kids, would go into the closet and try to open up the Christmas gifts before Christmas Day. So
I will tell you, I did that one time, and I think we talked about this last time. I remember finding all my Christmas presents one year. I think it was like 9 or 10 or 11. It was one of those years, and it ruined Christmas.
It did.
It 100% ruined it. And then you had to act like you were surprised, which made it even worse.
Don't do that.
All right, so closing thoughts on Dark Week Revisited. If you got to decide, Sam, when we're doing it again, would you do it at a certain point of the year? Would you do it at a certain point from now till then? Or here's a third question: would you announce that we're doing it?
All really good questions. I think the fact that wasn't aware that this was going to be a dark week was good.
Yeah.
I think it should be spaced out, because I think you do a really great job spacing out things that keep our attention, because I've done this for 10 years. And so there's
stuff that gets old.
Listen, coming to the gym is a necessity, but the joy, the dopamine rush, it gets a little, you got to chase it a little bit more. Let's just put it that way. And so the fact that you kind of space these things out, so there's always a little bit of a lift for the athletes, something a little different. Now we got the benchmark, which is exciting. So I don't think you should announce when you're going to do it. Okay. I think it should be done. You should space it out at a time when it kind of picks people up a little bit.
Got it. Okay.
And I got to tell you, my feedback is that I thought you were really kind with it this year. Like, I thought there was going to be at least one day where you were going to sort of be punitive, or
like a 7-minute burpees.
Yeah.
I think there was 1 year where I did 3 burpee workouts in a week.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not that mean, but it's kind of mean, because I wouldn't normally do that.
Yes, I remember that one very vividly. And when I showed up on Saturday, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. But the workout itself was very friendly. And I was like, you know what? Dave didn't F us over. I trusted Dave. And I think you have, over the years, maintained that trust with the athletes in terms of programming. The workout was step-ups, V-ups, sit-ups, row, and
a couple of dumbbell movements.
and a hang dumbbell clean and jerk, which, like, literally everyone who showed up more or less felt pretty comfortable with.
I mean, I had someone tell me the workout was too easy, but
and I understand that, and I get it. But at the end of Dark Week, it's like, and you know
we
what?
have a tough week coming up,
right? And the funny thing is like, for example, Susan was like, I'm going to outlast because it's a partner workout. It's Dark Week. I don't know what's going to happen. And then I showed up, and her workout was harder than and I was like, you know what, Susan, honestly, you would have really enjoyed this workout. It was a good one. So you gotta put some trust in the people that are doing this. And after 10 years, I can't believe it. I still trust you to do these.
I can't believe it either, Sam. And I promise I won't take advantage of that.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, guys. That's Dark Week Revisited. We will do another one. I can't tell you when it's going to be, and I'm not going to tell you when it's going to be, but it won't be next week. All right? Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to listen to the Herd Fit podcast. Be on the lookout for next week's episode.